Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, I have been debating on whether or not to do this video because it is not really a serious MMA topic. It is, however, a fun one, and I wasn't sure if it was still relevant, but I just saw a clip uploaded yesterday of Joe Rogan talking about this entire situation, and in my opinion, he had a horrible take. So I'm going to preface, I don't hate Joe Rogan. I think his commentary might be a little bit outdated, and at times can be very annoying. He doesn't seem to understand the scoring criteria many times, and it is a little frustrating. His podcast for me has gotten a little bit repetitive. I did used to listen to it religiously when I used to work as a CNC machine operator. It would pass the time, and just, you know, I don't hate the guy. Do you know what I mean? I don't love him, but I don't hate him. So I'm not just here trying to shit on Joe Rogan for any of you massive Joe Rogan fans. And I also think that his platform's very important, and I appreciate what he does do. So Bradley Martyn, if you don't know, a big bodybuilder dude. I mean, if you don't know, dude's got like 3 million subscribers on YouTube, 4 million followers on Instagram or something like that. Giant bodybuilder type dude, gym owner. I think he does something with the Nelk Boys. He's got a podcast, and he was talking to Brendan Schaub, and it didn't even start with Brendan Schaub. He's been talking about this for a little bit. He thinks he can beat professional fighters in a street fight, which is the whole street fight thing drives me crazy, but I'll get to that in a second. And then he had Brendan Schaub on, and he asked Brendan Schaub about this in a podcast. And there's a clip going around from that podcast that it was so surprising to me that Brendan Schaub, of all people, would have a good take, because this guy seems to be extremely blinded by successful people oftentimes. Like, he was one of the only guys who stayed steady defending the Liver King after it came out that he had been lying the whole time and whatever. I mean, if you knew, or if you know that guy was not clean from the get-go, but he was lying to everybody. And Schaub, just because the dude's successful and has a good overall message, felt the need to defend him. But Schaub on this podcast, it was honestly insane to watch Brendan Schaub be the smartest man in the room, and for about 6 minutes have to try to explain to Bradley Martyn why he would not beat a guy like a Mighty Mouse, as if he was explaining to his child why he can't have dessert before dinner. It was honestly insane to watch, and it took a lot of convincing. He stayed very calm and collected, as if he was talking to a small child, and I don't know that he got through to Bradley Martyn. At one point, Bradley Martyn even asked him if he thought he could beat him in a street fight. But
the question is, who wins a street fight, me or you? That's the real question.
Is it though?
I'm going to play that clip for you because the main one I want to talk about is Mighty Mouse. Devin Haney, I'm not honestly all that sure about. I would have to, watch some of his fights and things like that. But Mighty Mouse, for sure, I don't understand how this man could think he could beat him in a street fight. And I'm going to roll the clip for you right now.
Yeah, like crush him.
Yeah.
Like, 150 pounds like a towel to me.
But now Demetrious Johnson, who fights at 125 in a street fight, would fuck you up.
Why
dude.
Demetrious Johnson?
He's tiny, but he's black belt in everything when it comes to hand-to-hand combat.
But you don't.
So on the ground, I know you'll think you'll pick him up and slam him into the concrete, or I don't know where you're thinking it's going to go.
I'm going to crush his head on the floor.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Really?
No.
125 pounds?
Demetrious Johnson, or like a.
I don't know who it is.
Okay. And then all they do is deal with big guys, so they know how to put you in a position where you don't have leverage to
But
pick him up.
125 pounds, though? That's so
Demetrious,
light.
I know.
I can
dude.
lift it up with one hand.
I know. I'm telling you, he's going to get your back.
Throw that.
He's going to get your neck.
I'm not talking about jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about, I'm able to, hit this motherfucker with elbows and crush him on the floor. Because I know in
they're
jiu-jitsu,
just not going to be there for you to hit.
Yeah, you
That's
think
what I'm saying. Not the elite guys.
Obviously, I know it's a little different. I just think 150, someone 125 though. That 125 guy,
Mighty Mouse
feel
would. You're talking about the best of all time.
Okay,
you wouldn't be able to touch him.
And the worst, to me, dude, I don't understand this whole street fight mentality. If it was in a street fight, every single fucking thing I can do in a cage, in an MMA match, I can also do in a parking lot. You know what I mean? If I can head kick you on canvas or on a mat, I can head kick you in a fucking parking lot. Do you know what I mean? It's literally just a different geographical location, okay? Not only that, all of the things that I'm prohibited from doing in an MMA bout, I can now do to you also. And you're not trained. It's not like you're going to know how to hit me in the back of the head better than I know how to hit you in the back of the head. You're not going to be able to know when to use eye pokes and eye gouges and shit like that better than a trained fighter is going to be able to. You won't be able to know when to utilize soccer kicks and like all stomps, all of this shit, dude. It's a fight. It doesn't really fucking matter where it is. Now, the one thing that I want to touch on is what Joe Rogan had to say about this, and he seems to have this weird thing about the street fight also, because he's obsessed with people getting hurt on concrete. And look, I was one of those guys in high school where if I was not the one fighting, and let's say my friend was fighting somebody, whether or not I hated the guy he was fighting, I would force them to go onto the grass just because it would soften any horrible blow. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see either my friend accidentally kill a guy over some stupid high school beef, and I sure as shit don't want to see my friend crack his skull open on the cement and fucking die. So I would make them move to the grass. That was just what I did, because I understood combat. I trained, and I knew that that could potentially happen. The likelihood is, you know, it's too much. You know what I mean? Even if it's a small chance that it happens, it's too much of a risk. So I would force them onto the grass. So I understand where Joe Rogan's coming from, but he goes on about it as if it changes the situation in regards to Mighty Mouse, and I'm going to play that clip for you right now.
If this was in a street fight, the thing about Bradley is he can hit you with the earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he can literally pick you up and you're
dive
going
on you.
to hit the earth with, what does he weigh? 270?
Dude,
280? What does he weigh?
He's 265, but like,
Yeah.
if you his hands,
The amount of force
Yeah.
that body can generate. If that guy picks you up and smashes you into the ground,
Correct.
your body will shatter.
Yes.
Your body will shatter.
Yes.
If you're a human being, if somehow or another Mighty Mouse fucks up and that guy can pick him up and slam him into the ground, I don't know how much Mighty Mouse is going to be able to physically do to mitigate that.
And what I don't understand about this is that this applies whether or not you're on a fucking concrete floor. Do you know what I mean? We've had slam KOs in the octagon. We've seen slam KOs in Pride. We've seen slam KOs from 115-pound women. Do you know what I mean? So you don't need to be on the concrete in order to fuck somebody up with a slam. That's one thing. The other thing is, and he did say if Mighty Mouse fucked up, but what drives me fucking crazy is they're not talking about the fact that Bradley Martyn, this giant muscled up bodybuilder dude, is not going to touch or even come in contact with Mighty Mouse until Mighty Mouse feels he's good and gassed. Do you know what I mean? Mighty Mouse is like a master of footwork. And when he's fighting guys his size, he'll take more risks. He'll go in the clinch. He'll take a couple shots. Do you know what I mean? And he's been dominant against men larger than him for the vast majority of his career. Now, not as large as Bradley Martyn, obviously. But the dude would understand that could potentially happen. And also, in a grappling match, this could happen also, because Joe goes on to say, well, if it's just a jiu-jitsu match or whatever, Mighty Mouse gets him. But, like, you can take guys down in a jiu-jitsu match, depending on the rule set, I guess. You could get slammed anywhere in a grappling match. Like, if you're on the mat and you get slammed hard enough, you can get KO'd. If you're on canvas, you get slammed hard enough, you can get KO'd. The only difference is, I guess, you could fucking die on the concrete, right? But if you guys are fighting for fun, you're not trying to kill one another, so I don't know why you would pick somebody up and slam them on the fucking concrete like that, but regardless, dude. Mighty Mouse won't go near him until he's good and ready. Do you know what I mean? He'll fucking use his footwork. He'll skirt around the outside. He'll leap in with a little jab or a little leg kick or something. Make this guy chase him. Does anybody remember when Connor sparred the Mountain? Like, I know they're just fucking around in a gym, but he gassed him out very quickly. Very quickly. And Bradley Martyn is extremely muscled up. And we've seen what happens to dudes who are professional fighters that are extremely muscled up. Do you know what I mean? They just don't have the cardio to go along with it. Mighty Mouse would use his footwork, skirt along the outside, touch, 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 touch. He's not going to fuck up. He's not going to fuck up to the point where Bradley Martyn gets to grab him. He's going to feint. He's going to exhaust him with feints. Because if you're not a trained fighter and you're fucking looking and reacting to every single little thing a guy does, your brain gets exhausted. You will get exhausted. And then Mighty Mouse will be like, okay, now I can, do you know what I mean? And all it would take is a fucking Imanari roll. Do you think this guy has any clue what to do with an Imanari roll? There's actually a clip out there on the internet, maybe I'll put it in this video, of him rolling with Brian Callan while he's injured. And Brian Callan almost successfully sweeps him. Which Callan's probably 100 pounds less than him, and he's the oldest man in the world. And before they started, Callan said, "Don't touch my neck. I've got a fucking thing going on." Bradley Martyn immediately went and grabbed a hold of his neck, and Callan ended up tapping out because his neck was in pain. He's not going to fuck it up trying to grapple this giant spaz. He truly reminded me of a white belt in that clip who's just trying to like fucking spaz his way into a good position. Well, I was surprised of all people to hear that coming from Joe, though, and I know he gets obsessed with things, and you know, the concrete slamming is one of those things. He's talked about that on countless shows. But to not even factor in the fact that Mighty Mouse would just out footwork him until he was dead tired and could barely move, and then he would move in for the kill, and then he would strangle him, and then he would tear his knee apart or break his arm, or, you know, maybe an armbar is not the one I would go for, but he could fuck his knee up. He could choke him out. Come on, dude. I don't get it. And maybe if you disagree, put it in the comment section below why you don't think that Mighty Mouse would absolutely fuck this dude up in a street fight, regardless of whether or not they're fighting on the parking lot, the grass, the wherever. Okay, this is like a lesson that was taught to MMA fans in the very early days, and it seems as though it's been forgotten. And I understand that we were in a cage with canvas underneath and all that shit. Hoist Gracie, whether or not, well, first of all, I don't think Hoist Gracie would last 5 fucking minutes in a fight today, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. All the respect in the world to Hoist Gracie. He's a legend, and that family severely boosted the profile of martial arts and mixed martial arts in general, and made it what it is today. Like, without them, I don't know that the UFC would be as big as it was today. I don't think he would fare well against today's welterweights or today's middleweights. I think he would get fucked up. However, in the first UFCs, even in K1, this dude would strangle people way bigger than him on a regular basis, and not just way bigger than him, guys that had legitimate combat experience. Like Dan Severn almost went to the Olympics, and he lost his qualifying match. It was the final qualifying match, a controversial decision, so very close, and people thought that he could have potentially won that match. That dude that beat him ended up going on to win a gold medal. So Dan Severn, an incredibly strong man, big, probably had about 60 to 80 pounds on Hoist Gracie. I can't remember exactly how much Dan Severn weighed, but I know he weighed a lot more. I think he was 260 range. Hoist Gracie subbed him. Ken Shamrock, giant man, used to be a bouncer, big bodybuilder type, his frame's almost similar to Bradley Martyn. Now, he's not as big, but he's got more combat experience, and he got submitted. Now, a few of these guys, Hoist Gracie, had matches against multiple times, and he didn't submit them every single time, but he did submit them. Hoist Gracie, the biggest guy he ever fought, dude, Akabono Taro or something like that, big giant fucking sumo wrestler. And I understand that sumo wrestlers are like morbidly fucking obese, but they're very strong. They train. They understand leverage and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? It's their job. They know how to move another giant body around. Hoist Gracie submitted that guy. That guy was pushing 500 pounds when Hoist Gracie fought him. Hoist Gracie weighed, I think, 180. He used to weigh in at about 170 to 180 type range. So this was a lesson taught to us early on. I don't really understand how it's being forgotten. I don't care if you're on the concrete. Bradley Martyn could potentially, in a hypothetical world, pick a guy up like a Mighty Mouse and slam him on the ground and kill him. Okay, great. But he's not gonna, because he's not gonna get to him. He's not gonna touch him. Mighty Mouse is gonna use his footwork, dance around him until, 3 minutes, you think? Feints, and moving around with footwork. 3 minutes, you think Bradley Martyn's got that? 3 minutes of cardio in a fight in which he's never fucking done before in his life, against a man who's going to be moving so fast that he doesn't even know what to do, who's going to be throwing feints, and Bradley Martyn's not going to know what any of them mean, but his brain's just going to be like, what the fuck do I do? I don't get it. I don't care if you're on the concrete. He's not getting a Mighty Mouse. And it's delusional. And I understand now that some of the more recent clips that are coming out, like I saw one of him saying, oh, I see red, trust me, bro. At this point, he's trolling. He knows it's making people mad, and he's going viral for it, especially across the combat sports world. But these earlier ones, he legitimately thinks he can beat Mighty Mouse. He legitimately thinks he can beat Nate Diaz. He legitimately thinks he can beat Devin Haney. Devin Haney might be the only one. But, I mean, even Devin Haney's going to have footwork, my guy. The only thing is he's not going to know... He's going to have to hit Bradley because he doesn't know how to grapple. Do you know what I mean? So that one, he's limited in what he can do. But the pro MMA fighters, you're delusional. Nate Diaz would wrap him up so fucking quick. Do you know what I mean? Demetrious Johnson's getting to you. It is what it is. It'll take maybe 3 to 5 minutes. But when you're exhausted, dead tired, can't move anymore because of all the muscle you've got, he's going to do whatever he wants to you. And I mean, it's probably not an easy thing to admit for a giant guy like that a tiny little guy like Demetrious Johnson, 5'3", could do whatever he wanted to you. But he could. All right. So anyways, these are my thoughts on this whole Bradley Martyn situation. They've been driving me a little crazy because I can tell the sincerity in him when he's talking about these smaller fighters. Now, again, as I said, the later clips, it seems as though he's trolling. But, dude, to think you can beat up Brendan Schaub even. I get Schaub didn't have the most successful MMA career. That dude's very well trained, or especially relative to Bradley Martyn. He's close to you in weight. And the dude, whatever, like, you know, I don't necessarily like Brendan Schaub all that much. Dude's strong. And he knows what to do. He knows how to move bodies around. He would submit Bradley Martyn very quickly, in my opinion. But anyways, dude, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think Joe Rogan is getting dementia? Or do you just think that he, I don't know what it is. But either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.